So this video is going to be a bit informal compared to what I normally do, but I recently wrote an article for Being Libertarian called Criticizing the Cake Baker, and there are quite a few good comments on the Facebook post that I kind of wanted to go through. But if you haven't read the article yet, I will link it in the description. It's called Criticizing the Cake Baker. It basically says that libertarians believe that businesses have the right to discriminate, but they are not free from the consequences of discriminating, like boycotts or just people bad-mouthing the company, things like that. They're not free from criticism. And I've seen a lot of people, when someone criticizes a company for making a bad decision and they're a libertarian, I've seen people, including libertarians, be like, hey, you're not allowed to criticize them because they have every right to. They're allowed to do whatever they want. You're a hypocrite for criticizing them for it. And I'm like, no, I have to tell people that this is stupid. And the response is rather interesting. So top comment here saying, this is basically what I believe. If a person launches a company and decides to run it based upon personal beliefs at the risk of losing customers, it is their prerogative to do so. However, I am against bailouts for any failed business as well. It seems reasonable because the public is not entitled to services nor obligated to services and isn't responsible for the company in any way. Basically, the business owner bears the consequences for their own decisions. And that's fantastic. That is the ideal way to do it in a free market, that businesses make their decisions. They're allowed to make whatever decision they want with their own property as long as it's not destroying other people's property. But they are not free from criticism. They are not free from any consequences if their business fails. This is the ideal way to weed out the bad businesses and promote the good businesses. Someone else said, I disagree. If a baker decides to run a business in this country, there are a set of rules he must follow. Not discriminating is one of them. On the other hand, it baffles me why people, in this case the lesbian couple, don't take their business somewhere where it would be appreciated. I certainly would. And that's another thing. If someone is discriminating, like if you know that someone is a racist, or like if someone's running a company and they are a racist, to me, I would want to get as far away from possible as that company. I wouldn't want to give them my business. I would want them to put like some kind of sign on the front of their business that lets me know that they are a racist so I can stay away instead of giving them my business. And if they actually are a racist, they might still act racist. They might still act racist. They might still be racist to customers or employees, but they might hide it because they know it's illegal now. So you're never really going to stamp that out. I like it to be front and center so people can avoid them, and I would assume those businesses would fail. And in the context that he's speaking, yes, there are a set of rules he must follow. Yes, it is illegal to discriminate on the basis of race, sex, gender, all that stuff. So yes, that is a rule he must follow, but I'm saying it is not a good rule to follow. I'm saying we should get rid of that rule. Someone else says, the failure of this argument is in its simplicity. Under a theoretical model of a business setting up shop and just slinging cake to customers, the scenario would be true and the baker would not have any other responsibility but to his or her own morals, ethics, and resistance to criticism. However, in our current world, that baker sought out the protection in some form of artificial entity under which to do business, whether it be a corporation, LLC, partnership, or just a simple DBA, and with that protection from personal liability and favorable tax treatment, they agree to adhere to certain laws concerning who can be served, which takes a significant amount of freedom of choice and association out of the hands of the baker. It does not constrain their personal lives, but it does impact the conduct of their business. I know this is more of a legal argument that I can't really respond much to. To the best of my knowledge, you can't open up a company without any of this stuff. You have to do it under one of these licenses, under an LLC or something like that. And I would say that's like, there should be an option to get, like, people should have the option to open up a business and run it however they want, again, as long as it's not harming anyone else directly. And it's like the principled argument is just that it is their property. And the pragmatic argument is just that these businesses, if they're racist, sexist, whatever, in this society, they won't last. They just won't survive. And on the off chance that they do survive, I mean, everyone's going to move away. So it's not going to be much of an issue, is it? This person says, I think a baker cannot discriminate as far as selling, but they are not obligated to do specialty cakes not normally sold in their shop. They sell what they advertise. Artistry is up to the baker. Now, that's something I can compromise in the middle of. I'd be a bit more satisfied. Sure, like specialty things like this, and the cake example, yes, like doing specialty cakes versus just a regular store-bought cake. That I'm pretty sure most people would be willing to compromise on that. But here, again, in terms of principle, like if someone wants to refuse service for whatever reason, I think they should have a right to. But again, when it comes to specialty things like that, that's where this is really important, because I'm just thinking in the context, like one of my parents owns a print shop, and like they're doing graphic design, they're creating some kind of pamphlet form, newsletter, something like that for a business owner. And again, like should they have the right to deny service to a member of Antifa if they want anti-capitalist posters made up to hang around? Like, I think her business should be able to refuse service on that reason. It's a political reason, but any reason really. That scenario is the most important, where they actually have to put time and effort and care into a specific customer's product with some kind of theme to it. Next, this guy says, I've seen so many so-called libertarians attack other libertarians for criticizing free market decisions, such as Dick's Sporting Goods' recent decision on gun sales, saying that we can't criticize it because it's the free market in action. Apparently, they don't understand that the free market is entirely about word of mouth too, which means customer praise and criticism. None of us were calling for government action towards Dick's. So when I think about, like, there are three different options we have. There is the right choice, there is the wrong choice, and then there is the choice that we forced upon them. So yeah, this guy has it spot on. When it comes to the Dick's Sporting Good things, I think they have every right to make this decision on gun sales. I think it is the wrong decision. I am allowed to criticize them. I am allowed to boycott them. I'm allowed to say bad things about the company for this reason. I'm allowed to tell the world that I think this is a reason you should not go to their store because of this business decision. But I would never advocate for the government to go step in and stop them from doing it. I think they have the right to, but it is the wrong decision. So again, I can say whatever I want to them, as long as I'm not saying, hey, the government should go in and stop this. Next up, this guy says, you can stand by your libertarian beliefs of not imposing your morals on them and still be critical of them for their lack of morals in a decision. The key difference is you still left them the freedom to choose. Exactly. Again, it's freedom to choose. Libertarianism does not have a stance on like certain cultural issues or what a business does. The only stance we really have is they have the right to. We can say it's a bad decision, but they have the right to. Next up, this one is more critical. It says, then the argument becomes, what if a whole town of businesses decides they no longer want to serve blacks? So that's a good example here to go through. And either way, it'll work itself out. There's two ways this could work. So let's say, you have a significant portion of white nationalists in this city. They want a whites-only city or a town of a certain a field of business to where everyone else can't survive. Like, say the black population in there, maybe like say it's something like electric or something especially important, but the black population there is being turned away. So you have two options. Basically, one, a member of any community really, either doesn't have to be the black population necessarily, starts their own business as a competitor and opens it up to everyone and isn't racist at all. And the reason they do this, of course, is because now there is a huge market demand that the black population will then go to for this product. And not just the black population, but of course, the population of people that are not okay with this happening. Because you're going to have a significant number of people that aren't part of the black population, like myself, that would say, hey, I'm not going to this business. I disagree with it so much with this decision that I'm just not going to shop there. I'm not going to buy their product. So, I mean, I'd go to this alternative company that would start up. So in this case, you would still have competition, and either the racist company would still survive, it just would be ignored by people that don't want to shop there, or it would be run out of business by this new company that isn't racist. Or the second option is that nobody really jumps up and says, hey, I'm going to start a business. Instead, what they do is they say, well, we can't survive here, we're going to move away. So they all move away, and I mean, you got a town full of white nationalists, and you might say, oh my God, a town full of white nationalists, that's the worst thing ever. I kind of see that as a good thing, because let's say this actually did happen in the United States, and you had one town or one city that was specifically white nationalist, all their companies were like whites only, and it survived. And the businesses thrived enough to survive because there was enough white nationalist people in there. Well, you know what would happen is the news would spread around. Of course, everyone that wasn't a white nationalist would pack up and leave. All the white nationalists from other areas of the United States trying to influence policy would then say, I'm going to this town. So they all go to that town, and that's the end of it. We just took all the white nationalists and put them into this one town and then ignored them pretty much. So to me, that's a good thing. We just kind of got them out of everywhere else. And this next guy, I don't know if he's an actual business owner advocating against his own rights or what he's doing, if it's just hypothetical, but he says, sweet, so I own the only gas station and tow truck stop for 200 miles or so. Nice to know I'll have support when I start refusing service to everyone who has zero ability to logically think where their dumbass, ideal world ideas lead to and present themselves as some kind of intellectual authority. Gets really cold out there. Hope nobody dies because of it, but Haley, oh well, it's my shop, my rules. Yes, it's his shop, his rules. Because the nice thing is, if he's the only shop for 200 miles, imagine if someone runs out of gas. They walk to that gas station and he says no. He's going out of business. Like he is going out of business because that person's going to be screwed. And I imagine we'd have to spend a lot more money calling a tow truck, calling someone else to bring them gas, something like that. Just imagine the nightmare publicity that would be. Like this guy's business would be shut down in a week just because everybody would boycott him. And not only that, but that seems like a good business idea to set up a gas station maybe 2 miles away from him and make sure everyone knows that you better get gas here because if you go to that guy, he might turn you away. So again, what I think is the principled stance of letting business owners do what they want with their business, it works out pragmatically. Now this person has a very interesting option that I'm actually a big fan of. She says, or you can do what others have done in the past and have them sign waivers saying a portion of your sales will go to organizations they don't agree with on fundamental levels to weed out the customers you disagree with on whatever grounds you choose. It's completely legal, and at that point they can refuse to do business with you and move on, as no one was discriminated against. That's a really good idea. Just put out a waiver that says, hey, if you sign this, it'll go to, hey, sign this to buy this product. It says it'll take a portion of what you pay me, and it'll go to some organization you disagree with. That's a very good pragmatic idea. Now this guy says, while I agree with this, I also wonder how some would feel if the baker refused to sell to a person because he felt the person was too fat, or if he knew the person disagreed with his politics. Well, that's another thing. Now, I am fat, and I am not proud of it at all, and it really depends on the context, because if a personal trainer turns me down and says it's because I'm too fat and I'm a lost cause, I mean, it's every right of his to do so, and I would celebrate that right as much as I would probably go home and be like, well, I need to do something about my life. But yeah, if someone turned me down because they disagree with my politics, I mean, I'd say thank you for letting me know that you disagree with my politics. I don't want to shop here anymore. So again, it's a win-win to me. Now I'm going to assume this guy is a troll because he can't be this stupid. He says, and Google had every right to fire ignorant man-child. Glad libertarians are consistent on this. LOL. I'm assuming he didn't read the article because, I mean, the article is all about, hey, this is a consistent position. I can criticize Google for firing James Damore for posting truth and actually recommending to Google, hey, I'm here trying to help you, and not be a hypocrite. And also disagree with the government forcing Google to keep him as an employee. Now this guy says, so your basic argument is that the baker can refuse service based on beliefs. Now, what if the baker's belief about race are less equal? I'm assuming he means what if the baker is racist? Yes, he can refuse service. Again, if someone is a actual racist and would refuse service to someone based on their race, I mean, I don't know about you, but I kind of want to know that. I'd want to know that before I buy their product, before I give them my money. Because just because it's illegal does not make the person not racist. And if you're someone that thinks, hey, I don't want to give my money to racists, then sure, let them be racist. And it's going to hurt their business. It's going to, again, it is not economically beneficial to be racist or sexist. The thing I'm advocating for here is principle. It's as soon as, if we allow business owners to discriminate, we're not just going to have thousands and thousands of businesses start saying whites only to their business. It's just not going to happen, because if it did happen, a good 95% of those at least would go out of business the very next day. It's just not an economically desirable thing to do. This person says, the Civil Rights Act is very clear. A place of public accommodations cannot discriminate based on religion. Denying a person service because of their or your own faith is illegal. It's that simple. I don't know what this guy is trying to say other than pointing out the obvious. That it's like, yes, that's the law. I'm saying the law is wrong. I'm advocating on principle. I'm not talking about legal issues. Now this guy says, I like his comment. He says, as a gay libertarian, I would shrug and go to another baker. Cash isn't gay. Exactly. He would just go to another baker. Again, I don't know why he would want to give his money to this person that's like, no, I think you're a terrible person, you're a sinner or whatever. Just go to another baker. It's that simple. This guy says, damn it, now I want cake. That cake in the picture looks damn good too. Yes, it does. Now this guy says, not a particularly sound business practice, but ... And yes, exactly, not a good business practice, which is why people should have the right to do it, but it's not going to happen that often because it's a bad business decision. Now, one guy brings up a good point. He says, Netflix employed Danny Masterson until a bunch of people wanted him fired. How do rights work in a case like this? Now, I can't be biased because I have no idea who Danny Masterson is, but I'm going to say Netflix has the right to fire him. Netflix has the right to say, so long, people didn't want you here, you're fired. Danny Masterson has no right to work for Netflix. Again, it's all down to what's in the contract. If it's in the contract that he has to be hired for a certain amount of time and Netflix can't go back on it for whatever reason, then no, Netflix has to honor their decision. They have to honor their contract. But they have if it's not in the contract, they have every right to fire him. Now, then there's the decision of, was that a good decision, and was it a good business decision? Like, who is this guy? Like, why do they want him fired? I don't know. That's a whole different thing. I can say, no, they shouldn't have fired him, or yes, they should have fired him when I look into this issue, and all the while still knowing that everything before I said was true. That, hey, they have the right to fire him if they want, but whether it's a good or bad decision is up for the people to decide. But that's all the good comments there. Again, I love the fact that there were so many good conversations here. A lot of these comments I referenced had like 24 or 30 comments on that one comment. As always, I would love the conversation to continue. I would love the debate continue. So let me know in the comments what you think. Give me your best arguments or counter arguments on what I said. If you like the video, please give it a like. Subscribe for more. I promise that there are many more high quality videos on this channel. This one was just kind of an informal, hey, let's read some comments. But yeah, subscribe. That helps me out a lot. And thanks for watching.